same line of thought, when extended to biology, to understand subatomic or subatomic structures, functions, characteristics, and their influence on the whole body and its consciousness, along with the understanding of structure, function, or correlates of consciousness. Now, all these are subject areas which we were very good at. Traditionally, historically, one realizes the potential of future scholars who would guide the nation and the world. And we had this legacy of Abhinav Gupta in the past, and say Swami Lakshman Ju in the contemporary times. The point is, how could KP youth become the new knowledge generator in any field or area, say, for example, space sciences in future, and a variety of futuristic disciplines? I suppose such Kashmiri Pandit youth have to become leaders in different areas of their expertise. For example, in a new socio-political thought for a conflict resolution. I mean, these days you see it a lot. Or a psychosocial expert of the highest order to ease out mental illnesses, disorders, and stresses. I give these examples just to highlight the point of occupying a space or a position in an orbit which puts the future KP youth in a leadership position. And the question is, why is it needed? Not only to regain the ancient glory associated with KP community, not only to bring laurels to the community and the recognition and honor, but create a voice which is heard. And you all know that we are not heard. And it's lost because of the number game. And be heard respectfully and with dignity. And we have to make a difference with our knowledge base, with the expertise we have. And I'm sure KPonline and KP repository of future course, which it will take, shall set the tone to bring all of us together. Towards the end, I would just, what I have ventured on, I would just recite that couplet in Kashmiri. I have just made a debut kind of a, and this is Apor Tarnuk Chu Ak Sui Upai, Ghar Vatanich Vat Sui Hai, Byon Byon Wuchun Yus Trai, Tar Din Vol Temsi Vat Hai. Chakrit Ai Us Kitkain Samau, Us Kuni Navi Razi Yeli Lamau, Kasit Kamar Kadam Tul Bronkun, Panin Panin Vat Usite, Kuni Kathau Bronkun. God bless us all. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thanks.
That was a beautiful, amazing recital. So before we proceed, I have a small thing that I have opened a Q&A icon. आपके नीचे screen पे Q&A icon होगा. अगर आपके कुछ questions जो भी अगर नहीं, I want it to be a little bit interactive after all the speakers speak. जो भी आपके questions होंगे, please put them in the question. There is a Q&A icon which is open, and I'm sure all the eminent speakers will address the queries once we have. Otherwise, we'll break the rhythm. Ashish ji, would you like to take next?
As you desire, Bharat.
All yours, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Of course, a lot has already been said about KPonline, and everything has been so beautifully stated by respected Bamjai Saab. In fact, building on what partly what Mr. Bamjai, Dr. Bamjai said, I have been observing that in a very long time now, in my own professional journey also, having been around for about 32, 33 years now in public life, there are many micro communities around. It is not that we are the only micro communities. Of course, we are perhaps the youngest community in exile, and that is one factor that makes us very anxious. Very recently, I concluded my senior fellowship, which was in the area of evaluating the impact of terror on Kashmiri Pandit uh, social and economic ecosystem. And while I knew what was going to be the outcome, it was an international survey and research based activity that was undertaken by me. And I would be very surprised if we, as a community, survive for more than 3 decades, to say the least, and perhaps 40. We might survive because the names will linger on. We may be known by our surnames. Beyond that, we will not be, nothing will be known of us. There are multiple factors which are at it, which are contributing to the acceleration of extinction of being a Kashmiri Pandit. So while the names are important, that we are Kashmiri Pandits, that may live on for a little longer, but the essence of being a Kashmiri Pandit, I doubt if we will survive for more than 3 decades or so. And I give it 3 decades also because most of the people, for example, our elders, my parents, that generation, that is still very fluent with the essence of being a Kashmiri Pandit are still around. But as is the bitter fact of life, who anybody who comes will eventually depart. And with him will be an entire repertory of the entire knowledge bank of what being a Kashmiri Pandit was. So therefore, that is one part of it that I think is is at play, and I see that in day-to-day existence in the society. That youngsters, as Dr. Bamzai aptly put it, we of course showed a lot of resilience in moving away from the issues, but unfortunately, we have moved on from being the essence of being a Kashmiri Pandit. That is very worrisome. Today, the youth, they have no, when I use the terms that I use, I mean generally, not specifically. Exceptions as individuals or as groups still exist, but largely today's youth has no concept of being a Kashmiri Pandit. And what is being a Kashmiri Pandit, as Dr. Bamzai was also mentioning, it is about the rituals that make us who we are. uh, Knowing about Shaivism of Kashmir is a different game altogether. Today's youth is not even familiar with what the basics of being a Kashmiri Pandit are all about. The language has taken a toll. Today, no longer is the youth proud of speaking in Kashmiri. The youth is no longer proud of the ritualism. uh, there is another impacting factor, which is the intercaste marriages. Not that one is against intercaste marriages, but as a community, I don't think we have the luxury of encouraging intercaste marriages, because every girl that goes out or any new member who joins the community takes away with him a part of being a Kashmiri Pandit. Food habits have radically changed. A lot is changed. uh, I can go on for a very long time, because there has been tremendous work that has gone into this part in understanding and scientifically evaluating this part. Apart from various recommendations that have been made by me, one will hear from the government, I guess, soon enough. Uh, the the lowest common denominator that I feel, why is it happening, is because there is lack of respect and there is lack of appreciation for being a Kashmiri Pandit. When you evaluate various micro communities, whether it is Bengalis, whether it is Malayalis, whether it is Sindhis, you see tremendous pride in they display their community on their sleeve. They're very forthcoming in helping their own community members, and unapologetically. They take great pride in their cultural habits. They take great pride in their rituals. Now the difference is, why does it happen? It happens because most of what they stand for is well preserved and well documented. Another fact that Dr. Bamzai also mentioned is that we as a community, we have had a very tumultuous history of about 500, 600 odd years, and it goes back to another 200 odd years overall, 700 years of turmoil that this community has faced. And therefore, preservation of culture, documentation of what we stand for, perhaps was not a priority that time. Even after 1990, roti kapda makan, finding a roof overhead, finding food, finding jobs, finding cultures was very important. But today, when you look back, there is nobody hounding us. It is our own memories that are hounding us. So, does anybody stop today a Kashmiri Pandit from taking pride in being, because we mostly live in areas where nobody is persecuting us? Is there anybody persecuting us in Delhi? No. Is there anybody persecuting us in Bombay, in Gujarat, in Bangalore, or wherever we are? No. Today, I think we have the last opportunity of getting into preservation. That is one part of it. And then is the most important part, which is the development of development means taking it to the masses, that what being a Kashmiri Pandit means. Those The glorious part of our civilization has already been lost. One, because it was never documented. Whatever little was documented has not been propagated properly and cannot be propagated that easily. It is no, it is not some folklore that can simply be, dished out to people. So the larger part here is that what is, the sense of being a Kashmiri Pandit needs to be taken to the younger generation. And therefore lies the big missing part. Why is it that a Malayali is very proud of his culture? Why is a Bangla very proud of his culture? Because he has those references which are absent for a Kashmiri Pandit. It is only people like the our elders and the culturally very, very sound people. Dr. Bamzai is an ideal example, who know these things at the tip of their fingers. Others don't. And that is where the missing link. So today's youth doesn't know, why should I be proud of being a Kashmiri Pandit? Today, being a Kashmiri Pandit mostly may remind people of the exodus. It reminds of the misfortune. And therefore, I think our youth, largely when they're moving on from or moving away from being a Kashmiri Pandit, is because it reminds them of nothing but misery. It doesn't remind them of the contribution of Kashmiri Pandits in economy. It doesn't remind people of their contribution in areas like combat, in education, in knowledge, in taxation, in trading, in legalities, in diplomacy, in every form of. And I say this with great pride. In fact, I've given up 6-7 years of my life in field research when I was doing my project Tridesh, which eventually became the first ever research project that was approved by the government of India, that brings back and gives authenticity and brings to life 13 women from Kashmir who were lost in time, who people did not know. And, unfortunately and unapologetically, I think while we are a very culturally and very well educated people, the kind of ignorance that we have about our own history is appalling, is really appalling. And I say this with demonstrated experience, barring our elders, who are beacons of knowledge, who are beacons of excellence. These are islands of excellence. But these islands of excellence, we have to recognize biologically, these islands of excellence are with people sooner or later, like my parents, everybody else's elders will move on. What will happen then is what deeply worries me. I have almost about 20, 30 universities where where I was invited to discuss about Sri Desh and the women and their contribution. There has been nothing but standing ovation, that people say that, wow, we only knew of Kashmir because of terror. We do not know the contribution of Kashmiri women, even in the areas of warfare. So, people like when I requested the legendary Mr. Amitabh Bachchan to release one of my books, which is the first biography on the life of Queen Dida, he was amazed. He said, this is unbelievable. This kind of history is unbelievable. Unfortunately, Kashmir gets known only for Lal Ded and so many other parts which are popular. But people who really made the cornerstones of the world, and the fact is that even Kashmiris don't know that today the world runs on certain economic, certain social parameters. All of them were contributions of Kashmiri Pandits and specifically the women of Kashmir to the world. So the world works today on the very fundamentals that were creations, that were gifts to the modern world by the Kashmiri women. How many of us even know? So the point is, sometimes the bitter pill is that we have to accept that we ourselves don't know. And whatever has been fed to us, unfortunately, is doctored. Our own history today, our own culturalism is in a way, it has been influenced by Islam in so many ways and supported by the governments of the time. Unfortunately, it has had an impact on the kind of learning, the kind of ecosystem that we and maybe a generation before me or the generation after me has also gained. So there is a lot of work at hand, and I believe Kalsab has an opportunity uh, it's a Herculean effort, because to build that pride is necessary. When you build that pride, people get drawn to it. Why do we get drawn to Americas of the world and developed nations of the world? They don't come to us; we go to them. Likewise, the sense of pride, I hope we are able to do it before it is lost forever. So I think that sense of pride in the youth, they have to know that there is something to be proud about. I know youngsters who don't even like to, even in Jammu, the sad part is a very large part of my own family, my nephews, the youngsters, they speak Dogri so fluently. They take great pride in speaking in Dogri, not Kashmiri anymore. Something fundamentally is wrong, and what is wrong is the lack of knowledge, is the lack of respect for your own identity, and the knowledge that why should you be proud of. Today's youth thinks that Kashmiris are, they are living in their own world, that people should be proud of us. But there is nothing, as Bamzai Sahab very rightly mentioned, that uh, proof oriented, or there has to be some structure to it that is absent today. I just hope we are able to put that before time runs out. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashiji. Very apt, very apt.
Very
And
nice.
you really built up on what Dr. Bamzai said. And it was very eye-opener. Maybe everybody will love to, maybe offline, online, know more about the research work. And especially I know what you have done with the government. Or maybe if everybody's okay, we can have a separate session about it, because that is an eye-opener for the community. So I will request everybody to please put the questions in Q&A, because the questions are coming in chat. We might lose the chat somewhere. Ashish ji, thank you. Vivek ji, now the platform is set, and you come with a different perspective, because I know you work at the various, not only at the community level, but at the larger level of the continent based. You meet, I believe you were with the Jews recently, and before that you were with the other communities, and you are based in London. Now, what is your perspective about it? How we can just rebuild the community? How we can get the younger generation, like Ashiji or Bamje sir also said, the younger generation needs to get empowered and excited about just being, hey, Bushus Bata is not enough now. Bosus Kashmir, it is not enough now. And like Ashiji also said, just titles and surnames. 10 years, 20 years. I think 30 years is a generous statement. I believe another 15, 16 years, we are done with the titles as well. So I would love to bring your fresh attention, perspective from the place now you're sitting outside the country. Yeah. And working on this cause. All yours.
Thank you, Sanjay ji, and rest of the August gathering. When you speak the worst part is everybody has spoken before you and given all your ideas already there. So Yes, I work in Oxford, and I interact with lot of proud communities. And it's my life's mission to meet all these communities, learn from them for our own community. वो क्या करते हैं, वो कैसे different है. So it takes me to Israel, it takes me to America, Canada, it takes me to everywhere in the world I go. I just take an air ticket, reach there, have friends, and try to interact with their intelligentsia and intellectuals. तो बेसिकली दो तीन चीजें हैं. हम बोलते हैं ना हम प्राउड नहीं है. वी आर वेरी प्राउड. कश्मीरी पंडित्स आर वेरी प्राउड बिकॉज वी आर 100% लिटरेट. दिस इज वन ऑफ द रीजंस व्हाई पीपल डोंट लाइक अस. पीपल को एक कश्मीर में एक वर्ड है अजरवन. अजरवन इज टू मच in other communities against us. Same Azarun which people had against Jews before 1948. The Azarun factor brings us no friends. So let me tell you something. 1992 May December was a kind of was a complete. It changed our fortunes of our community, and it was in a very. It was not organized. It was just. It happened. It happened that my. उससे पहले मैं ये बताना चाहता हूँ. Kashmir was not a rosy garden for Kashmiri Pandits. My mother used to be in Kashmir Hindi department at the HOD, and my father was in Power Development Department. They were very high up in the society. My father was in Germany in 50s. Bakshi Ghulam Mohammad ne unko भेजा था generators लाने के लिए to design them in Europe and all that. So we were in very good circles, but we could know that these circles which compromised not of our religion people, they were very against us just because we were Hindus. The only crime we had that we were not Muslims. That was biggest crime in Kashmir, and we suffered because of that. जब मम्मी के डिपार्टमेंट में जाता था, वहां उनका कभी कोई गैदरिंग होती थी, आई वुड फील दैट दीज स्टूडेंट्स आर आउट ऑफ दिस वर्ल्ड. कोई शायर होता था, कोई कवि होता था, दे कुड राइट एसेज. सो आई यूज्ड टू आस्क माय मदर, दे आर सो इंटेलिजेंट. मैं डॉक्टर हूं बट ये मेरे से भी ज्यादा इंटेलिजेंट है. बोलते मम्मी मुझे बोलती थी, बेटा इनको प्रोफेशनल कॉलेजेस में एडमिशन नहीं मिला है because of their religion. Otherwise, they're out of this world. उसमें अग्निशेखर साहब से भी मैं मिला था when he was a student. So I was really flabbergasted that because of this, we cannot progress in a place where they used to throw few seeds of medicine or engineering towards us. So we never had a rosy picture. Even we were discriminated. We were highly discriminated in Kashmir. So in 1992, what happened in December was that there was a chance meeting my parents took to meet Balasaheb Thackeray. So I also accompanied them in the middle of December. There was riots in Bombay. तो हम उनके कमरे में गए. उनका छोटा कमरा होता था. पहले बाहर चिट्ठी लिखी कि हम कश्मीर से आए शरणार्थी and all that. So he was very kind. ASAP he sent the word, yes, he wants to meet us. So we went to his room. छोटा रूम का होता था, operational. तो उन्होंने गले वले मिले. He was very nice. He was a great human being. I'm telling you, मैंने बहुत लोगों से मिला हूँ. I met lot of chief ministers, prime ministers, बहुत उनसे मिला हूँ. His impression and the way he conducted himself, I can never forget in my life. He was a genuinely nice, kind human being. तो वहां पे इन्होंने बोला, देखो आप लोग यहाँ पे बॉम्बे में रहते हो, यू आर सेटल्ड नाउ, योर बेटा इज इन डूइंग MS, योर सन इज इंजीनियर. So what can I do for you? Because what happens is, मेरे घर, उसके घर के पास जहाँ वो बैंड्रा ईस्ट में रहते थे, साइन है एक जगह. साइन में सरदारों का ट्रांसपोर्ट हब है. तो बोलता है जितने भी ट्रांसपोर्टर्स हैं वो सरदार लोग हैं. वो यहाँ पंजाब से गेहूं बाकी चीजें लाते हैं. जब उनकी गाड़ियां खाली जाती हैं तो आई रिक्वेस्टेड देयर हेड, सरदार जी, की यार तुम एक और ट्रिप मारो फ्रॉम पठानकोट टू जम्मू, एंड कैन यू गिव दिस, ये सर्दियां होती हैं, लेफ, चादर, इस टाइप की चीजें, प्लस दाल गेहूं. दाल गेहूं की अब चिंता मत करो, पंजाब से ही दे देंगे उनको. जो बाकी लेफे वेफे हैं वो आप दे दो. तो ही यूज्ड टू सेंड इट टू दीज अवर जितने शरणार्थी कैंप से कश्मीरी पंडित के. आई डोंट नो व्हाट हैपेंड. माय डैडी गॉट एन आइडिया. उन्होंने बोला, बाला साहब ये सब ठीक है, बोलते हैं कश्मीरी पंडित कैन starve himself, can forego 2 meals a day, but he can't forego his education. और जब से हम शरणार्थी बने हुए, हमारी एजुकेशन भी जो रूडिमेंट्री थी यूनिवर्सिटीज में मिलती थी हमको, आफ्टर नॉट बीइंग सिलेक्टेड इन प्रोफेशनल कॉलेजेस, नहीं मिलती है. वी आर जस्ट रोड साइड इन दिल्ली एंड जम्मू एंड अदर प्लेसेस. तो ही वॉज वेरी वेरी इंटेलिजेंट फेलो दैट बाला साहेब जो थे, बहुत एकदम कश्मीरी पंडित की तरह वो समझ जाते थे कि यार प्रॉब्लम तो सही बोल रहे हैं ये लोग। तो उसने बोला यार आई कैन सॉल्व इट आउट। मैं मनोहर जोशी जी को जानता हूँ, वो हमारे सर हैं, ही यूज्ड टू रन एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस, वो तब चीफ मिनिस्टर नहीं बने थे 1992 में। तो बोलते मैं उनको अभी फोन करवाता हूँ, उनसे मिलो, वो आपका कर देंगे काम। एंड इन द मीन वाइल ही कॉल्ड हिज वाइफ फ्रॉम द ऊपर से लाई, उन्होंने हमारी आरती उतारी, टीका लगाया, एंड शी वाज वेरी नाइस लेडी मिसेस बाला साहब। तो उन्होंने हमको जब भेजा इनके पास, मनोहर जोशी जी के पास, उन्होंने बोला मैं उनका हनुमान हूँ, मैं ये काम करूंगा, मेरे को ये काम करना आएगा। अभी आई थिंक शरद पवार समबॉडी था, वो था, वो भी मानेंगे। विद इन अ वीक ही मेड द कश्मीरी हिंदू रिजर्वेशन पॉलिसी। एंड इसका ये मतलब होता है, जैसे मम्मी डैडी ने बोला, अगर मकसद हो किसी का, नियत हो, तो काम हो जाते हैं। उन्होंने यही बोला, मैं उनका हनुमान हूँ बाला साहब का, और मेरी इच्छा है ये हो जाना चाहिए, आई विल डू माई 100%। उसके आगे क्या होगा मैं नहीं जानता हूँ। तो एडमिशन शुरू हो गए। तो वही बाद में मुझे विवेक तनखा जी मिले अभी 1 साल पहले, बोलते हैं यार हमने वही जो रिजर्वेशन पॉलिसी बनाई थी महाराष्ट्र ने फॉर कश्मीरी हिंदू, वही हमने इम्प्लीमेंट की मध्य प्रदेश में, सेम डिटो। तो दैट वाज अ गेम चेंजर। हमारे जो लड़के लड़कियां को एडमिशन नहीं मिलता था, जब 15 20 या 30 लोग इंजीनियरिंग करते थे, यहाँ 800 सीटें मिल गई महाराष्ट्र में। दैट कंप्लीटली चेंज इट। मैं बाला साहब, हाँ, बाला साहब का एक और किस्सा बताऊंगा। उन्होंने बोला मुझे रिश्वत क्या मिलेगी, देखो मैं पैसे लेता हूँ हर एक चीज के। ही वॉज अ वेरी ह्यूमरस पर्सन। तो मैंने बोला हम क्या कश्मीरी, हम क्या देंगे, हम ने की, हमने वो डाम लगाया जो होता है, कश्मीरी पंडित था वेरी गुड, मुसलमानों से सीखा है डाम लगाना। तो ऐसे ही सूडो डाम लगाया। तो उसने बोला नहीं, मैं बोला कोई बात नहीं सर, मैं आपको एक अच्छी डिश खिलाऊंगा। तो आई टुक, मम्मी ने बनाई थी ये यखनी बनाई थी, उसको बहुत अच्छी लगी। ही फोन्ड बैक, वो फोन करते रहते, बोलते बड़ी मजा आ गया ये वो करके। देन आफ्टर फ्यू इयर्स मूविंग फॉरवर्ड, ही कॉल्ड मी वंस, बोलता विवेक तुम यहाँ पे आ जाओ दिल्ली से, मुझे बात करनी है। तो मैं बोला नहीं क्या प्रॉब्लम हो गई है, कश्मीरी पंडित स्टूडेंट्स देख मारा वारा तो नहीं, किसी को गड़बड़ तो नहीं हुआ है। बोलता नो आई वॉन्ट, इधर आओ तुम। मैं आया तो उनको, मुझे बोलते हैं आई वॉन्ट टू रियली कॉन्ग्रेचुलेट यू। बोलते हैं जितने भी फर्म्स हैं पूना में, जितने भी ये इंटरव्यूज हम लेते हैं, दे योर कश्मीरी पंडित्स आर स्कोरिंग ऑफ द, दे आर वेरी गुड। They are Mercedes-Benz wants them, Toyota wants, everybody wants them, even over Maharashtrians. Because मैं उसके पास एक रोस्टर आता था, कितने महाराष्ट्रन को जॉब मिला, कितनों को मिला। बोलता even I am telling them if they are better than Maharashtrians, take them. So this was a feedback he gave me that मैंने बोला सर ये किया तो आप ही ने है, वरना we would not have been where we are. तो देखो मैं क्या बोलना चाहता हूँ, we are very resilient. Even if we do work for a community, we should be very proud. जैसे संजय जी कर रहे मेरे पेरेंट्स की तरह, he doesn't expect you, हम इनको संबोधित करेंगे, नोबेल प्राइज दे देंगे, वो ये दे देंगे। He is doing it because इनको चौक है, कश्मीरी वर्ड चौक होता है। He's got चौक to do something good, and that चौक is very important. If you don't have that चौक, you can't do anything. You cannot do anything. You will be just मुझे ये अवार्ड मिले, वो मुझे रिवार्ड मिले, कुछ नहीं होगा। और thinking that we will be in politics is a dream. Nobody likes us. हमारा अजरबुन बहुत high है. If we are very good in education, if we look after our own community, that will be the greatest service we do. Don't expect we will become chief minister, prime minister, वो नहीं होने वाला है. Because उसमें काफी दुफंदलाजी करनी पड़ती है. We cannot do that. We are not trained for दुफंदलाजी. We are not trained for being, वगू सटने के लिए. We are not professional वगू sutters. We can't do that. So we should do what we are good at. We are very good in our sciences. We are very good in our education. उसी को आगे बढ़ाना चाहिए. जैसे दो भाई साहब ने कहा, we should have a repository. संजय जी से मैं अनुरोध करूंगा कि ऑनलाइन एक किस्म की एक यूनिवर्सिटी के जैसे आप चैप्टर रखिए, जहां पीपल कैन सिंपली गो ललदत के बारे में पढ़े, अपने लक्ष्मण जी के बारे में पढ़े, so that they are well conversant. And one of the other problems with language, हम रोते रहते हैं अरे लैंग्वेज, कश्मीरी लैंग्वेज इज नॉट एन इजी लैंग्वेज। आप किसी नॉन कश्मीरी को कश्मीरी सिखाइए, आपको तो स्टैंड अप कॉमेडियन लाने की जरूरत ही नहीं है। ही कांट ब्लडी प्रोनाउंस कश्मीरी इवन इफ ही इज टॉट। बट इफ यू टीच योरसेल्फ जर्मन, स्पेनिश, यू विल बी अरे क्या जबरदस्त बोल रहा है। कश्मीरी में यू विल बिकम स्टैंड अप कॉमेडियन। इट इज नॉट एन इजी लैंग्वेज। ये कोई नहीं बोलता है अरे हमको आती नहीं है कश्मीरी। कश्मीरी नॉन कश्मीरी, आप किसी को भी खड़ा रहिए, उसको बोलो कश्मीरी बोलने को, आप हंस हंस के पागल हो जाओगे। यू डोंट नीड ए कॉमेडियन देन। सो बट वी स्टिल हैव टू मैं भी इजराइल जाता रहता हूँ, वहां पे भी मैंने सीखा कैसे करते हैं। उनको बचपन से उनको क्लासेस में लेते हैं, उनकी जो ये सिनेगॉग होते हैं वहां पे बच्चों की अलग क्लासेस होती है, उनको ट्रेन किया जाता है। वैसे ही अगर हम वर्चुअल मंदिर बनाए या वर्चुअल पाठशाला बनाए on Sunday once a week, where we go, even if we can't go at 8 o'clock Indian time, but it will be on the YouTube where we can pick it up. So it doesn't have to be that every 8,000 लोग इकट्ठे होने चाहिए. We don't need it. We just need it to happen every Sunday where विद्वान like बामजे साहब हैं या आशीष जी हैं, ऐसे लोग बात करें, so that we get motivated. हम लोग काफी we are very proud like Jews, और होने भी चाहिए. We are the only 100% literate community in India. 8-10 लाख इंडिया के 100% वेरी हाईली, जैसे बाला साहब को मेरे डैडी ने कहा था, यार मैं सब 1930s में मेरी जितनी मासी थी वो पीएचडी थी पंजाब यूनिवर्सिटी की, वो परेशान हो गए, बोलते पीएचडी कहाँ चलाया उन्होंने, बोलते हमारे पढ़ने में, हमको पढ़ाई में ही शौक है। तो संजय जी को मैं ये अनुरोध करूंगा, रेजिलियंस तो है, वी हैव शोन रेजिलियंस, हमने सबके पास मकान है, वी आर वी आर ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड, न्यूजीलैंड से लेके कनाडा से लेके वी आर एवरीवेयर इन द वर्ल्ड, एंड स्टिल आई कैन टेल यू, एश्योर यू, हमारा कल्चर खत्म नहीं हुआ है। आई कैन ईट ए रोगन जोश इन न्यू जर्सी, सेम थिंग इन टोरंटो, सेम थिंग इन ऑक्सफोर्ड, सेम थिंग इन विलिंगटन, हर जगह मिलता है, इवन इन एम्स्टरडैम में मुझे अब कश्मीरी पंडित ने बुलाया। अवर कल्चर इज नॉट डेड, अवर क्विजीन इज सर्वाइविंग, बिकॉज जो अपने बच्चे हैं उनको खाने का बड़ा शौक होता है, उनको मम्मी के रोगन जोश का बड़ा शौक होता है, मम्मी के यखनी का बड़ा शौक होता है। अगर यही चीजें हमने शुरू करी विद क्विजीन्स, योर सिस्टर कैन डू इट, वी कैन टीच देम हाउ टू मेक। मेरे दोनों बेटे अच्छी तरह दम आलू बना लेते हैं, येलो सामान बुलाते थे, पहले ही फोन करेंगे कहीं से, जैसे मम्मा वो लेदर सामान चाहिए। सो क्विजीन इज वन थिंग विच कैन ब्रिंग अवर जूनियर्स, अवर यंगस्टर्स टुवर्ड्स अस। तो मैं संजय जी को ये भी अनुरोध करूंगा, छोटा सा क्विजीन का भी लगाएं, और एक थोड़े से ये क्लासेस का लगाएं, और थोड़े कल्चर के बारे में लगाएं, और बट मिलें रेगुलरली। 8 बजे आप रख दो, कम रेन और शाइन, लेट पीपल नॉट ज्वाइन, बट इट विल बी देयर ऑन द यूट्यूब फॉर देम टू सी। और दूसरा लास्ट थिंग आई वांट टू टेल, आई टोल्ड संजय जी दिस, हम कश्मीरियों को प्रॉब्लम होती है, यार ये अठम कब है, एकादशी कब है। पहला पेज जो कश्मीरी ऑनलाइन का होना चाहिए, उसमें होना चाहिए अठम कब है, कब आ रही है, एकादशी कब है, चौदम कब है, नवम कब है। That is a very important thing for Kashmiri Pandits around the world. We still believe in Autumn. We still don't touch any non-veg near it. So बस यही बोलना चाहता था, मेरे को prepared speech तो नहीं है, but this is मेरे दिल की बात, मन की बात. Thank you, Sanjay ji.
Sir, Vivek ji, so nice of you. The preparation is because there's the beauty of Kashmiri Pandit. We are always prepared.
Correct.
That is the beauty. I would just like to touch. आपने अभी बोला कि कुछ एक रिपोजिटरी होना चाहिए, एक कहीं पे कोर्सेज टाइप होने चाहिए, करेक्ट
जी।
आप अगर देखेंगे ये जो प्रोग्राम मैंने सेट किया है, ये मेरे जो मैं ऑफिस अपने वर्क के लिए यूज करता हूँ, नेतृत्व करके है। आपने देखा होगा जब आपने लॉग इन किया, वहां पे एक छोटा सा एक सेक्शन था कोर्सेज, जहां पे आपने नीचे देखा होगा वर्कशॉप है, मैसेजेस है, फीड्स है, उधर एक सेक्शन है कोर्सेज। दिस इज अ प्लेटफॉर्म विच आई हैव क्रिएटेड। मैं अभी केपी ऑनलाइन वेबसाइट की बात नहीं कर रहा हूं, मैं इस पर्टिकुलर प्लेटफॉर्म की बात कर रहा हूं। इसमें कोर्सेज पॉसिबल है बिकॉज दिस इज बेसिकली एन SaaS बेस्ड LMS सिस्टम विच वी आर यूजिंग। थोड़ा टेक्निकल है, मगर ये है कि हम कोर्सेज डाल सकते हैं, चैप्टर वाइज डाल सकते हैं, वीडियो कंटेंट डाल सकते हैं, और जो भी कोई ज्वाइन करेगा अपनी मर्जी से क्लासेस अटेंड कर सकते हैं। So I would like everybody from our community to contribute. किसी के पास कोर्सेज है, किसी के पास बुक्स है, किसी के पास कुछ नॉलेज शेयरिंग है, प्लीज कंट्रीब्यूट। एंड दैट इज द होल ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ केपी ऑनलाइन की एक रिपोजिटरी बनाए हमारे कल्चर का, हमारे हेरिटेज का। आशीष जी के पास इतना कंटेंट है कि आई एम श्योर, मतलब सेड बामजे सर के साथ मैं बैठा था, इन्होंने इतना अपना जेनेटिक्स के बारे में, बच्चों के फ्यूचर के बारे में, क्या कर सकते हैं क्या नहीं कर सकते हैं, मतलब आई बिलीव ऑल ऑफ यू नीड वन होल डे ओनली टू टेल व्हाट ऑल पीपल कैन डू। और हमारे इस टाइम बाकी व्यूअर्स में भी ऐसे लोग हैं, डेफिनेटली टैलेंट है, नॉलेज है, जो हम शेयर कर सकते हैं। दैट इज द होल ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ कीपिंग दिस फर्स्ट इनिशियल मीटिंग ऑफ दैट इज व्हाई इट इज पुनर्निर्माण। हम से दोबारा से क्रिएट कर सकते हैं। अभी हम डिजिटली ही कर सकते हैं, अभी फिजिकली पॉसिबल नहीं है। और कोर्सेज, वर्कशॉप्स हम वो कर सकते हैं। किसी को 8 बजे करना है, इंडिया टाइम करना है, यूएस टाइम करना है, यूके का टाइम करना है, स्टडीज में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। कुछ क्वेश्चंस आए हैं, आई लाइक टू क्विकली रन थ्रू। रमेश जी लिखे हैं कि 3 decades you are too generous, आशीष जी। Please replace the caste word by out of community concept. Ramesh ji does a lot of work for late marriages, declining community across. He does, and that is where he works in. Ramesh ji, I don't know, you can type, ये किन के लिए क्वेश्चन था? ये
आशीष क्वेश्चन नहीं है, जस्ट एन माई फीलिंग। आउट ऑफ इंटरकास्ट मैरिज, आउट ऑफ कास्ट मैरिज बड़ा हिट करता है हमको रिवर्स में, दैट यू बिलीव इन कास्टिज्म, ब्राह्मण हो, पंडित कहते हो अपने आप को। आउट ऑफ कम्युनिटी मैरिज वी शुड प्रेफर टू यूज दिस वर्ड। दिस इज माई ऑब्जर्वेशन फॉर लास्ट सो मेनी ईयर्स। आउट ऑफ कास्ट जब करते हो ना आप, भारद्वाज के सामने, सक्सेना के सामने, साउथ इंडियन के सामने, वो खुद किस कास्ट का है पता नहीं रहता, तो ओ ये पत चटाने से पन्ने पितृ बोय वगु तिमो तिचे पन्ने एजेंट थे। बी श्योर अबाउट इट। तो तुरो फिक्री यम बहनों पेट कन ताली पेट दिस आई वाज read and I have felt this right down up to Goa, कोंकण के ब्राह्मण्स इधर जितने भी हैं, मैथिली और जितने भी हैं। तो दिस इज वन ऑब्जर्वेशन। और दूसरा क्या था, आई डोंट नो, आशीष जी ने काफी रिसर्च किया है। 3 decades, इज ही कॉन्फिडेंट एंड डज ही हैव द डेटा? बिकॉज आपको मालूम है कोल साहब, 2 फरवरी के प्रोग्राम से पहले आई हैड बीन टू चेन्नई में जेके बजाज है, ही इज द फाउंडर चेयरमैन ऑफ इंडियन क्या काउंसिल ऑफ पॉपुलेशन रिसर्च। वनान बटस कह वुचान कि तम सद पे सेकि मज कल थवित। I met him personally. He told me everything about us post 1990 till 2000 this 25 or 24. तो उनके पास पेपर्स हैं, डाटा है। उसका कहना था, आई कोट इन्वर्टेड कॉमास, डॉक्टर साहब आपको 7 साल के बाद अगर आप मंदिर कमेटी बनाना चाहते हो, आपको 11 लोग नहीं मिलेंगे। कश्मीर की अगर हम मंदिर कमेटी आउट ऑफ जम्मू, आउट ऑफ कश्मीर बनाना चाहेंगे, समझ रहे हैं आप, आपको 11 लोग नहीं मिलेंगे। दोयम वनम, अगर तुम महल टीम आसो बचन बनावन, कशरन बट लड़कन हज 10 बट लड़के समन। Got it? So आशीष जी may react and have it. Okay.
जी। दीपू कौल जी लिख रहे हैं, what initiatives we need to start to engage our new generation? Deepu ji, if you can unmute yourself and किन से आप आंसर कर रहे हैं? The question was towards whom?
नमस्कार महाराज।
नमस्कार।
कहाँ के है कि आंसर करे?
अच्छा।
एक्चुअली मेन एक्टिविटी थे शुरू में थोड़ा कम ही आता रिलेटेड, तो इसलिए मैं तो अगर इसके इनिशिएटिव काफ़ी सारे तो उन्होंने बता दिए, बट आई थिंक और कुछ कर सकते हैं। मतलब मैं अभी मुंबई में हूँ, दिल्ली में काफ़ी जगह प्रोग्राम्स होते हैं। आई थिंक अगर ये एंगेजमेंट्स इसके साथ में और कुछ हम कर सकते हैं तो दैट विल हेल्प इन फ्यूचर।
हाँ, definitely.
Sanjay ji, if you want,
my
would you
request
like me to, Sanjay ji, would you like me to encapsulate?
Yes. Yes, please. Yes, please.
So I'll specifically touch upon the research. So it is a scientific research. It is not my research or what I believe in. It was a international research project that was undertaken across all the continents and largely across the Kashmiri Pandit population, wherever it is. So there was a sample size of nearly 50 to 55,000 people who were reached out. And broadly, I'm just preempting the research findings. It is eventually for the government of India to publish those because, that is the research fellowship project that it was. But I'll broadly give you a gist of what it is. It is to evaluate extinction, not familiarity. So extinction means that you're done. You know, nobody knows anything about you. Nobody cares. You don't exist. You are a dinosaur. Now, people know what a dinosaur is, but nobody knows. Today, it's an assumption. You know, whenever we look at a movie and there are movies made and references, and we make our own assumption about dinosaurs, and largely there's a scientific community that tells us what a dinosaur is. So we are on that path. So 3 decades is for us to reach that stage. Overall, today, less than 1,80,000 people worldwide understand Kashmiri. That's it. So the number of 6 lakhs, 7 lakhs that we talk about, it's long gone. There are less than 1,80,000 people who can maybe try to speak Kashmiri, understand Kashmiri. That is one part of it. There are various age groups to it, because what is happening is that for any such activity, there has to be addition for it to sustain. There is no fresh water coming into this language, right? So the water is only flowing out. So this 1,80,000, it was about, let's say, when the research started about 3 years back, it would have further depleted. Let's say today it would be about less than 1 lakh people. That is one. Two, what are the implications? How does this happen? Why does it not happen to Malayali, for example, living in Middle East? Why does it not happen to a Punjabi living in Paris? Why does it happen only to a Kashmiri language? There are various scientific reasons why it would happen, and if I may simplify this, is because it doesn't do any good to you to learn the language. So when you learned, most of us, I do not know about others, but I come from a generation where Urdu was also a subject that you had to learn whether you like it or not. And you were appraised for it. So, marta kya na karta, Urdu padni padti thi. So there was a stage, once I was in a school in Anantnag, they preferred Urdu more than Hindi. Marta kya na karta, mujhe agar pass hona tha 8वीं में, I had to know Urdu. So unfortunately, we are bound to a country whose education system needs a lot of changes. I'll give you the example of my own daughter. For example, once there was a complaint that came from the school that your daughter speaks too much of Hindi. I said, oh my God, I have been worried that, how do I teach my daughter Kashmiri? Now the challenge is, मैं ऐसे देश में रहता हूँ जहाँ हिंदी के भी लाले हैं. अब उसको मैं कश्मीरी कहाँ से सिखाऊंगा? Now, if my daughter has to educate, or for that matter, if any youth has to complete his education, his focus will always remain on the subjects that get him anywhere in life, that at least get him marks. That is one. That get him accredited education is two. And third, it is an instrument for a career. So Kashmiri language fulfills none, which is why it is nobody's priority. And it is not that there are a tremendous number of groups who teach Kashmiri. There are teachers who do this. Sharda, in fact, some of us may not know, but some of us may already know, there are various groups who are reviving Sharda. The challenge, is what do you do with Sharda? Sanskrit, at least you have a chance of getting a job in a university. So the problem lies in the way education is happening in this country. Unless these two are aligned, it's not gonna cut much ice. That is one. Two is, when does Kashmiri culture is impervious, whether it is food habits, whether it is ritualism. You can recreate a Gujarat anywhere. You can recreate Punjab, Bengal, Malayalam, anywhere you want, because their ritualism is neutral. It can be recreated. Kashmir cannot be recreated anywhere. So the problem is, when your ritualism dies, it cannot be. Now, I was discussing with you, Sanjay ji, like, in Bombay, if you have to do Shivratri Puja, how do you do it? You run a tape on a YouTube, or a recording on a YouTube, or through Radio Sharda, and it's a clumsy way of doing it. It gives us great relief. Is that the right thing to do? Now, for example, Passion doesn't get you anywhere in real life. If you are talking about reviving of a civilization, to me, Kashmiri Pandit culture is about a civilization. It is not just a community in passing. It is a civilization. So civilizations are not preserved by YouTube, by listening to, most of us don't even understand what that Guruji is saying. Okay. Now, that is where the problem lies. Now, the food habits have taken. Now, do you know, this is out of context, but just to take a minute more, there is tremendous rise in health concerns in Kashmiri Pandits. Why that has happened is because 35 years ago, most of those diseases in the modern world were absent in Kashmiri Pandits who are today dealing with those diseases. You know why? Because the food habits have radically changed. So one of the questionnaires that I may just share with you was, for example, what are the top 10 Kashmiri foods that you remember? Even it goes into understanding what are the, out of these top 10 Kashmiri foods, what are the foods that you consume today? It's very important because your DNA, your body reacts because of the food that your forefathers have been taking, because there is a shift in your culture, your climate. All of this is interconnected. So we also try to examine if today you are having 10 dishes, what is the constitution? So you'll be surprised that for a Gujarati, what has happened is maybe a haak has remained common, maybe a damalu has remained common because those are available now. But 8 dishes have been replaced by local foods. And out of those local foods also, there will be a pizza, there will be a burger, but 50% of the dishes have been localized now. So for a Maharashtrian, out of those 10, 5 will be local dishes. For somebody in Bangalore, 5 will be local dishes, and likewise. What has also happened is that the question was posed, do you remember top 10 Kashmiri Pandit festivals? The overwhelming majority doesn't go beyond 3. 80% people cannot list successfully more than 3 rituals. Now, what has happened to 8? Do they not celebrate? But what has happened is that the local festivals have started replacing your traditional festivals. So you will see in Bombay, Ganesh Utsav is being celebrated. In Gujarat, it is Navratris are being celebrated. Likewise, there are many cultural influences because we have nothing. So we are at the receiving end of this global phenomenon of socio-cultural onslaught. But since we have nothing to hold on to it, that is not diminishing, but extinction. So maybe after 30 years, if I have a child who will have a child by then, so if the question is posed to that child, that do you know who you are? The question will be based on the geographical location where that grandchild of mine will be based. So he will say, I am a Maharashtrian, I'm a Gujarati. Say, but your surname is Kashmiri. If my child is fortunate enough to be in Kashmiri family, so the answer of my child will be, yes, I remember. My father was a crazy man. He would always talk about Kashmir all the time. But I do not, beyond that, I have no knowledge. I know we are from Kashmir, but I'm a
So
Marathi, I'm a Gujarati.
that's the reality of life. What is happening even these
Those
days?
are the challenges.
That's the reality of the life.
So one of the recommendations to sum it up, one of the recommendations that is there in my research is that Kashmiri language has to be made. If you have a Urdu department, why should it hurt government of India to have a Kashmiri department? Over 500 crores are wasted every year in a department like Urdu, which is not even consumed. That money goes back to the government. So why can a seat not be there in certain government universities? Why can it not be made an elective? You don't have to integrate the numbers, as everybody understands. It is not a very common language, but for it to have that pull, अगर वो सेब पेड़ पे होता है, people want to go towards that apple. So unless we put the language in an accredited environment, it will not have that pull. And to answer that, there are many people who are doing the great effort people are doing in Jammu, in Delhi, in creating these classrooms. But it has to have something, there has to be a reciprocal relationship.
Correct. Thank you. And I will only request that because since an automated system, the system will automatically get disconnected by 9:17 or 9:18. I have 6 more questions. I'll quickly go through it. Amit ji, kiske liye question ha? If you can open up, and how do we promote and encourage unity among our own community?
What is it?
How do we promote and encourage unity among our own community?
Unity
As in
तो यार
Panmini unity.
नहीं, यूनिटी तो एज ग्रेटर इन आवर ओल्ड हिंदू कम्युनिटी में भी नहीं है। ऐसा यूनिटी तो तभी आएगी, कश्मीरीज में यूनिटी है। टू बी ऑनेस्ट विद यू, वी आर मच मोर यूनाइटेड देन आवर मेजर रिलीजन। वी डू मीट ईच अदर। कभी कश्मीरी सभा होती है लंदन में, वहां जाते हैं, कहीं टोरंटो में जाते हैं। वी हैव कश्मीरी चैप्टर्स अराउंड द वर्ल्ड। हमारी यूनिटी उतनी खराब नहीं है। और दूसरा, जो पॉपुलेशन का हम डरते रहते हैं, जैसे पारसी हैं, पारसी इज आवर नियरेस्ट एग्जाम्पल। Parsis were 1,15,000 in 1947. Now they're only 50,000, but they don't come every day on the street and start breast beating कि हम कम हो गए, कम हो गए। अभी मैं बोमिन ईरानी से मिला था 2 weeks ago. He was happy. बोलते हैं जितने भी हम कम हैं, हम खुश रहते हैं, अपना खाना बनाते हैं, अपना लैंग्वेज बोलते हैं, हमें उसी में खुशी है, खत्म नहीं, जीरो नहीं हो जाएंगे कभी। तो other thing which I learned, which I had gone to Israel for, was how do they counteract their low population around the world? उनमें उन्होंने एक सिंपल रूल चेंज किया है। When a girl marries, a Jewish girl marries outside their religion, the children are all Jewish and they can take their mother's surname. So it is a good way of keeping your surname same. If a Cole girl, a Suhasini Cole marries some Chidambaram, the sons of Chidambaram will be Coles, and it's a good way of preserving your own, not diminishing returns नहीं आते हैं। ये भी एक सजेशन है जो फ्यूचर में हम दे सकते हैं। बट वी हैव टू टेक बेबी स्टेप्स फर्स्ट। जैसे आपने ये शुरू किया तो बेबी स्टेप ही है। इस बेबी स्टेप के बाद वी कैन हैव अदर स्टेप, जितने भी आशीष जी ने बोला, these are all steps which we have to take after a few years, because they're all very important. But in the beginning, we have to take baby steps. And other thing which you should do, Sanjay ji, make a small youngsters ki KP online. Should not be more than 30. Should not be like a youth congress of our time when 50 years old were also in youth congress. So it should be a real, genuinely KP youths. उसमें आपको around the world, England के हम ला के देंगे, अमेरिका के भी ला दे सकते। So they have a community of 20-30, pool of 20-30 people. They do their show 8 o'clock or whatever time they choose, and they have YouTube for the greater. तो अब youth को बड़ा इसमें रखिए, because when I went to Israel, वहाँ पे youth के लिए भी वो synagogue में अलग उनको ट्रेनिंग होती है, अलग उनको सिखाते हैं गाना गाना, अलग उनको सिखाते हैं टोरा पढ़ना।
The basic concept here is basically अगर हम थोड़े कुछ सीखें, जी, idea is the same to how to get together, bring the value and cultural heritage to the empower the youth. So next question, Bamze sir, हाँ जी,
just 20 seconds. हमें इसमें क्या प्रॉब्लम होती है, हम यूथ को नजरअंदाज करते हैं, अरे इसको क्या मालूम है, तो कल का बच्चा है। But we forget when Vivekananda shook the world, he was only 32 years old of age. If he belonged to any sanstha, he would have been sweeping the floor. बोलते तेरी औकात क्या, तू क्या जाएगा अमेरिका करने? He went alone. He had to fight there to get registered. Then spoke at the age of 32. So that means we youngsters में काफी जोश होता है और काफी जज्बा होता है, जुनून होता है।
जी हमारे साथ इस टाइम सेशन में
संजय जी
जी हमारे साथ इस टाइम अजय जी भी, अजय पंडिता जी जो गुड़गांव में है, he has a separate unit of youth only. Is for the youth, everything is youth.
इसी अम्ब्रेला के अंडर मिला ही है, so that people know about
collecting them. We'll be soon connecting them, give them a separate channel which they will run, which they will do. That is the next step going forward. एक youth का अपना channel चलेगा. Like we are here on right now, they will have their own channel, whatever they want to do. So, Bamze sir, आपके लिए सुरिंदर तिक्कू जी ने लिखा है, beautiful line, Professor Bamze, God bless you. I think the issue of having one voice is, in my opinion, major obstacle. How to achieve that? we need hard brainstorming. The historical evidence-based knowledge, I feel, should be disseminated to our young in a serial way through lectures in the forum and organizing webinars and possibly one common conference a year. That I feel will help inspire them about the heritage. Few thoughts, please.
Yeah, it cannot may. I think there have been multiple opinions in all directions. I think you will probably see to it that how it gets converged.
Ji.
And that is the purpose of KPonline also. Because as we have multiple organizations, agar tihin te to hekyo panin what ٲسۍتن سارنٕے ہٕنٛز مگر أسۍ کِتھ کٔنۍ ہٮ۪کو کُنہِ کتھ تھٲوِتھ for certain larger goal سُہ کٔرۍتو define. You might have to have panel discussions on your forum. So who is a Kashmiri? As Ashish was pointing out, this becomes a very important issue, and even Vivek had his opinion on that. Panel discussion opinion, and I can give evolutionary genetic opinion in this direction. Anyway, coming to the question, I suppose there were few questions. This is age-old question. Yuta kal Buttersworth exists karan, Yuta chasi question te tanpet. Want you if KPonline can play a role of convergence, letting others follow their own respective paths, so shouldn't a problem kehte, but picking up on certain convergence on issues which are common to all of us. The various issues which we can probably discuss in some panel discussions and come to it.
Definitely, yes.
Time is also short, and there are too many things to talk about. So I don't think this is the right time.
There are a couple of more questions. Vatsala Ali, she is saying, what are the authentic sources of reading political history of Kashmir apart from Raj Tarangani? Vatsala, do you want to speak? Yeah.
Hey, hi everyone. I'm new to this forum, but I guess I just want to share a couple of things. One is that I've been researching on Kashmir quite some time. I also own a fashion label called Urzu, The Spirit of Kashmir. It's been 5 years. I've been running that. I am based out of Bangalore. I also work in a VC firm. While I was researching about our community and history and all of that, I think just one point I want to put out that I think it's not that there's lack of initiative and there are not enough people who are doing regarding this cause. I think it's all very fragmented and working in silos. I think I have been part of many such video conferences. One is this a wonderful initiative, but I think a few years back, Equart and many such initiatives are there, but I think it's all very fragmented. So a lot of people are like, we have so many, but nothing is sort of converging towards one thing. So, and the participation of youth, like I attended the Global Kashmiri Diaspora Conclave, so many things I attend, but I find youth very minuscule, like even today, like I guess I'm the only one here, but what I'm trying to say is that I think there's not lack of, like everybody knows what the problem is, but I think there's nothing which is converging toward one thing. Like Mr. Kaul said that there in Israel, there is a synagogue and all of that. They have that place where they can do it, but we don't have any central place, maybe Kashmir Bhavans, or I don't know, in every city, we need to create that.
Sorry, we just have 2 minutes left. This will automatically get disconnected.
Yeah. So please go.
So any one of the speakers who wants to address Vatsala's question is that any other book where we can know apart from Raj Tarangani?
Book ke bare mein, I'll just take 10 seconds. History of Kashmir, Political and Cultural by P. Kya hai wo famous hai? P.N.K. Bamzai.
Bamzai.
That I have. Okay.
One more is there. Abhi latest jo hai Bahristani Shahi.
That is K.N. Pandita. Yeah, that's like the.
वो आप देखो reverse में knowledge मिलेगी history की, which is from Iran to this.
Yeah, he's a very good scholar, Pandita Sahab.
Authentic.
Yes, there's one more question. Ajay Pandita ji likhe hai. Ajay Pandita ji, are you there?
सवाल किया उनको?
Ajay Pandita ji, I would like to see him if he's around. His question is, can our respected speakers guide us how to mitigate the efforts effects of the declining population, late marriages, and our youngsters not coming forward for the community affairs. We need to have a serious thought and action in this regard. Collectively, it can be achieved with your suggestions and guidance. Inika, continued दूसरा question भी है because we are running counter. Session of learning usage Jantri Panchang can be very useful as planned. Question is for Dr. Vivek ji. Can an exclusively program be held on how Jews survived and how it can be quite done frequently?
हाँ कर सकते हैं. I can call a eminent Jew, very famous Lionel Rosefield है उसका नाम. He's a very senior Jew. He's in charge of.
So we have an agenda for the next session for.
उनको बुलाएंगे.
So we can have a next agenda on. I request Dr. Vivek ji, आप उनको अगर हम करेंगे, we can fix up a date. We can put forum.
और किसी पारसी को भी विवेक जी पारसी बहुत परेशान है.
Sorry, I'm cutting
आप जो कह रहे हो
Ravinder ji, weekly.
ठीक है, पारसियों को भी लाएंगे. अभी आशीष जी तो
Ravinder ji, you wanted a question?
आशीष जी said, इन्होंने कहा भी कि पारसी एक्सपर्ट को भी लाना चाहिए. Ashish ji can get from God himself.
I'll work with you both off the screen because we are just 1 minute left. Off the screen, we'll set up a forum. We'll set up a next meeting. It's a good thing. That's the collective idea of KPonline right now, to bring everybody together.
Learn from other people like us. Correct है ये अच्छा point है. We should learn from other communities who have problems of number. Correct.
Correct. Ravinder ji, you wanted.
नमस्कार मेरा मिशन पता चूता टाइम छा अवेलेबल किन्नते बट आई विल ट्राई टू मेक इट एज क्विकली एज पॉसिबल. सार्वी स्पीकर वन बड़ ब्रिलियंटली कश्मीरी लैंग्वेज छु करन एस प्रिजर्व पनिन ते मेन छ अख मारा रिक्वेस्ट इल्तिजा ये कम से कम गसन यम मीटिंग्स आसनी एक्सक्लूसिवली इन कश्मीरी तो तथ मज छ अख डिसएडवांटेज वारियाहन बचन तरना एस फिक्र त मगर शायद सु तिमन फिक्र न तरनु कर तिमन फोर्स टुवर्ड्स लर्निंग द लैंग्वेज एंड अस पज सारनी बड़न सो अख रिस्पांसिबिलिटी नीन यह अख पॉइंट मोन दोयम पॉइंट छ मोन ये अस वनान है यूथ नसा छुन गसान इन्वॉल्व यूथ मारा गस न इन्वॉल्व कैज कि तथ छु रीजन अख अस वन त सोचान निमिस यूथस कित कन करोन अस ये एनकरेज सो मारा 1930 तरीक यूथ कित कन करोन एनकरेज यूथ छ जेन जी यूथ छ मिलेनियल तमिस छिन एनकरेजिंग मेथड्स के चलान अस यम जन बुड़ बुड़ या बड़ अस पज अख प्रान करन जे अस कित कन बनाओ पनुन पान रेलेवेंट युत जन तिमन बासो अस रेलेवेंट तमि सीत गसन तिम एनकरेज तमि सीत गसन तिम इन्वॉल्व बाकी अमिच प्रतिक्रिया क्या छी कित कन छु करन सो हेक न यात अकिस मिनटस मज या अकिस घंटस मज गसित के बुचुस मारा बिल्कुल तैयार मान तरफ छु संजय जी फुल ऑफर ब आसो कुन विज द अवेलेबल तथ पे कत करने खतर मेन अकै कंडीशन despite the fact that I think that I know fairly good English, but I will not be speaking in English. Bas khali kashir pait kat karan ye manna so fikr tayri timan chu mein tarf best of luck. Thank you.
Good input Mara. This is a forum not by me. I am only hosting it. It is sadly on forum. That is why this is a digital homeland. It is on gar ko nahi is roza sari equat kam se kam panni garas majte hai ka wais equat ruzit. That is the objective of this thing. And at least as meals the point for the next session. Akchu Vivek ji, Ashish ji, I'll connect with you offline. How will get the other communities share their expertise? Human declining, diminishing population. We can get their insights. I don't know which language they will speak, but we can talk it offline. Second, Marachu, you Panchang.
Mara Josma wana kashir pait bolu.
So you might take a chuna is conflict thing. So
translator.
Lastly, I am thankful, very, very thankful to Dr. Bamzai, Dr. Ashish, and Dr. Vivek. At such a short notice, it's so kind of you, such a short notice, just a call. Okay, I am starting this. KPonline is there for at least 1.5 years. I was trying to stabilize this system, stabilize it. And take the inputs you that a community khatir cheez zarurat chahe so individual chu chahe business chu ya even education chu. I have developed this platform. Meon yuti chu now it is a platform, it is a digital homeland. Please use it.
बिल्कुल महाराज.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you. Really.
Next session, I'll request all the members, because this session only I have been trying to push, because this is incomplete without all of you, and everybody's contribution is required to grow this. This session, I can easily take to 300 people on this very platform. And God willing, if we do all well, we can take it to 3,000 next. Infrastructure is ready, education is ready, webinars are ready, everything is ready. Thank you, Dr. Bamzai. Thank you, Ashish ji. Thank you, Vivek.
Thank you for the
Thank you, everyone.
And thank you, everybody, for joining on the weekend. There's one comment. Lastly, somebody wants to know about Shaivism also.
Yes. Next talk.
So that's the next topic. So thank you, Mara. Namaskar, Sadni.
Namaskar, Mara.
And this is also running right now on KPonline YouTube channel. Please feel free to share your comments across your community.
नमस्कार, मैं दत्त